Hi, I'm Martin, and welcome back to Series 2 of Upgrade Your Day, the podcast.
You know, filming is a whole other kettle of fish because you've got cameras around you, you've got to try and do your continuity, you've got to hit your mark, you've got people moving when they shouldn't necessarily. Loads and loads of things distract you. And there'll be some times when I've done a take on a film or a television where the other actor will go, God, I don't know how you did that, because so-and-so suddenly did this during the take. And I was like, did they? I didn't notice, because I was so in the moment.
Yeah.
But sometimes you'll do a take and you can't focus because there's too much going on and your brain's not entirely focused. So you have to really, it's like getting fit, you have to really hone the focus that mindfulness can give you and hold on to it and use it and sit on that anxiety.
Yeah.
Because every time I do another job I think, they're going to find out this time. And that's a classic actor's line. I feel I've just been given a present.
And I have images of you sniffing Bill's ears.
No, not Bill's ears, the dog's ears.
Well, here we are. We have a second series. I absolutely loved recording and speaking to all those wonderful, beautiful people in Series 1. Had an absolute hoot. And I couldn't wait to do another series. And, you know, sometimes you think, crikey, what else is there to talk about? Who is there to talk to? And already I've got another 16 planned. So many things to talk about which can upgrade our day, put a little cherry on the top. Just a complete menagerie. Is that the right word? Menagerie of plethora. That's what I'm thinking of things to do. And today, my first one, I'm speaking to Jenny Seagrove. Now, we met about 12 years ago because her partner, Bill Kenwright, who runs the Theatre Royal Windsor, also produces the Panto, which I've been the comic at for the last 12 years or so. So I've met Jenny many times. She is, oh my crikey, she has done theatre, film, telly, absolutely everything. Probably best known for Judge John Deed, a long-running series on the telly that she did, but she's done so much, and I've seen her in many plays. She's absolutely cracking. I love her. She's one of those actresses that is they're just brilliant. They're just great at everything they do. So I love her to bits, and she's so supportive of obviously Panto at the theatre and the theatre itself. And I couldn't wait to chat to her. She has a sanctuary called Main Chance where she looks after horses and helps people with rehabilitation with regards to the horses, and that's where her mindfulness comes into things. So we're going to chat all about horses, about her dogs, about her early morning walks, about her mindfulness and mindful moments that she finds to kind of give her a daily upgrade, as it were. So I hope you enjoy this. This is Jenny Seagrove. I should start by saying we've got some lovely people with us today. A couple of your dogs.
That makes me sound like I've got about 10 dogs. We've got Georgie and Alfie with us, so if there's any strange noises, it'll be her tail wagging or him snoring.
I mean, I've come into their home, so I think they have the right to do whatever they want to today.
I think she's keeping your feet warm.
Yeah, I think they're going to do a little bit of a sleep now.
Yeah. Well, I don't think she will. She's obsessed with shadows.
Is she?
So she'll be watching your shadow move and she might pounce on it and scrape the carpets.
Oh, I can see she's doing it now, isn't she?
And then her tail will start going.
Oh, that's interesting.
I might have to turn the lights off or we'll do this in the dark. And for those who don't know, Georgie's my Springer Spaniel and Alfie's, he's a Staffy Jack Russell, go figure, collie cross. Yeah.
And you walk them every morning, don't you?
I do. Yeah. I walk them every morning, and when I'm not working, I walk them every afternoon as well. So we walk about 6 miles a day.
Crikey.
Yeah, I love it.
That's great. And is that your little bit of you time in the morning?
It is. You know, the world we live in is very fast moving. I'm going to speak a load of cliches now, but it's very stressful. And sometimes you wake up in a panic about the planet or about your other half's health or about the charity you run or about people you love who can't do this, that and the other, or who can't afford. Anyway, there are loads of reasons why we all get stressed. So I get up and I open the doors to our lovely garden. I'm blessed to have a garden, and the dogs rush out. And then I get me clothes together and get their leads. They don't actually wear collars when we're out because I don't want them getting caught in the undergrowth. And off we go. And I'm very lucky to live outside of London now. I won't say where because I like to keep it private, but the woods and the fields are about 2 minutes away. And I like to just be in the moment with the dogs. And when you're in the moment with the dogs, you notice things. You notice the colours, you notice a little bit of an animal that might be lurking somewhere. You notice the dog's language. You hear the birds, you hear the traffic in the distance. You notice cloud formations, the colours of the leaves. You notice the seasons passing. You notice a strange toadstool or the shape of a branch. You just notice things that you don't notice when your brain's busy. So I like to every morning post on Twitter and Instagram, hopefully an uplifting picture of our walk. And because my motive, my mission rather, is to try and start people's day in a kind of kind and slightly beautiful way if I can. The dogs don't always play ball because they won't always pose, which is really annoying because I'll see what I know is a great shot and then I'm like, guys, will you come over here? No. So you have to catch what you can catch. Mm-hmm. And then I'll turn the phone on to airplane mode so it doesn't go ping, 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 ping. And I'll just enjoy. I'll just be with my pals. And I don't know about you, but any other dog lovers out there, and I'm sure you've had this, Martin, is when you're with your animals, just sometimes they'll look at you and something in their soul will catch something in your soul and you'll have such a deep connection. And then you get that little jump in your heart, stomach area, which is the second brain anyway, but it's also the seat of the emotions. And you just sort of go, oh, I'm so lucky.
Yeah. Because it's like they don't have a care in the world, really. And I think sometimes, like going back on what you just said, it's not necessarily what's going on in our lives. It's sometimes when we wake up and worry about what's going on in other people's lives and family and friends and even what's going on in the world at the moment. If you're quite a sensitive person, which I think we both are, it can really affect your day right from the start if 100%. You start reading the news. And I think when I do my woodland meditation, the one thing I tell people, and some people struggle with it, but I say when you go out walking, just stop. And if you can, sit. And if there's no seat, sit at the bottom of a tree. Don't worry about getting a wet bum. Just do it. Just do it. And just watch. And I don't know if you've ever just sat in a forest at the bottom of a tree, base of a tree, and just let yourself be like nature. And just listen. And that's when animals come to you.
The problem I've got is when I sit down, my dogs come and they can't understand why we've stopped. So Alfie comes and tries to lick my face and Georgie comes and sits next to me and then she starts to bark at me. Yeah. So they actually don't let me stop. Right. If I was going to do that, I'd have to leave them at home and then the point of the walk's gone. But I do know what you're saying. And funnily enough, I run a charity called Main Chance, which we've got 35 rescued horses. The number goes up and down depending on who's come and who's sadly moved on, as it were, in terms of over the rainbow, because none of them get rehomed, they stay with us. But one of the things we say to our staff and our volunteers is, apart from slowing down so you can try and understand what the horses are saying to you, if it's a sunny day and the horses are sleeping or resting, just sit down with them. Just sit down and be in the field with them. You don't always want to on a winter's day, and as you say, it's a soggy bottom time.
Yeah.
But if it's a lovely, a crisp winter's day, doesn't matter, whatever. If there is peace in that field and the horses are having a quiet moment, sit with them and listen and be. And it's magic. It's magic. But you're right, when you're in the forest or the woods, or even a field, and you just stop and you are on your own, then yes, you're right, the animals come to you. But I think they sense an energy. I mean, with the horses, if you go into the field of horses with emotional turmoil or an anger or a busy, busy, busy mind, the horses tend to walk away. If you go in with a calm, open, heartful energy, they'll come to you. They'll want to be with you. My dogs are the same.
Yeah.
Animals, they sense everything. They know things we don't know. I think we used to know them, but I don't think we know them anymore. They're still there.
Yeah.
And if we slow down and are mindful, I think we can find them again.
And just connect with them. I think a few years ago, one of the things that led me to mindfulness is I left the house once to walk the dogs, and a quick walk in the morning, and I had an email pop up. And it was very interesting, and it needed a very quick answer, which I did on the walk. And then the person called me because it was something was going on. So I called them back. And then basically I got home. A few hours later, I couldn't remember if I'd walked the dogs or not. Genuinely couldn't remember. And I had a little moment. I thought, crikey, I just walked those dogs. And I looked at my phone constantly. And as like you, we sort of work from home quite a lot with what we do, learning scripts or whatever, and I just thought I can't be doing that because those poor little things, they want your attention.
Well,
they're out walking, it's their time.
One of my bête noirs is people who take the dogs for a walk and they're on the phone the whole time, or they're talking to the person they're with constantly, and the dog is on a lead. This is usually in an urban setting, because in the countryside the dogs can be off lead, but in an urban setting where the dogs are on lead and the dog is trying to sniff or trying to poo or pee, and the person is unaware of them and just pulls them because they're too busy looking at their phone or talking to their person or just walking in their own head. I'm like, it's the dog's time.
Completely. They're inside all that time and they go out and they love it. Like you say, the smells and everything.
It's their Facebook, it's their newspapers, isn't it?
It is. That's a really good way of
looking at it. It's the Daily News.
Yeah.
And that then gives them something to think about and live off for the rest of the time they're going to be indoors again.
I literally now leave my phone at home. I don't have it unless I'm waiting on an important call, but I leave it at home and I let them, and actually connect with them. You just watch them and look at them.
But that's what I mean by that moment where you catch an eye. And they usually look at you with such love, and you feel that love, and it's like, oh, thank you. I don't leave my phone at home because I need to take photographs, but having done my photo, then I turn it off.
I think you're allowed moments, aren't you? I've said on a previous podcast about firework displays, when I caught myself once watching a firework display through my phone because I was filming it, and I thought, what am I doing? And now I'm very, very aware to, if something does happen, because we like memories, we like to keep things, this is the generation we're in, I'll film something or take a photo and then it's away.
But a lot of people live their lives through the phone. I find that really sad. I remember I was in the audience once at a charity concert. It was for one of the other trustees that I work with, Born Free. We were at the Albert Hall and there was a very, very famous rock star on stage and his band. And this group of kids, about 20 kids, came on stage to sing with him. And they turned their backs on the audience because they wanted to film themselves with the Albert Hall behind them. So this group of kids came on stage and turned their back on the audience. And I was like, really? What are you doing? Just be in the moment. You're with this amazingly famous person in the Albert Hall. Your brain is going to remember that way better than any bit of film on your phone.
Absolutely. I kind of limit myself as well. I kind of go, I'm going to two or three little film sections. So if I went to a 2-hour concert, I kind of allow myself a couple of moments and that's it. Whereas some people, you just see they're filming the entire thing on their phone. And actually, what are they going to do with it? Because I guarantee you they won't go back on it. They won't go back and watch 2 hours. And there's millions of videos on YouTube you can go to if you need to, But going back to what you're saying about your beautiful horses, you do practice mindfulness, don't you, at your charity?
We do. Because I know how amazing horses are and the fact that they don't want to connect to you if you've got a busy mind, I created something called Chance to Be, which is our bespoke mindfulness course, and it's 12 weeks long, and we've taken the principles and the acronyms of learning mindfulness and we've created a course around being with the horses. So we have 9 kids from a school come with 3 practitioners, and the first week we'll try and get them to understand that we all have busy minds, and then you take them through, each week building on that as the mindfulness courses do. And And we find that doing it over 12 weeks is helpful because I think young people struggle with the concept, a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them are quite self-conscious and they can't shut their eyes because they've all got anxiety or depression or some mental health issue. And, you know, since the pandemic, anxiety's gone through the roof. And so sometimes they struggle to shut their eyes. But, you know, we do work in our little barn there, and we also take them outside. And we do tiny, tiny little meditations for 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, and we build it up over the course of time. And the horses will often just reflect what's going on in the child's head, and they'll have transformative moments.
Yeah.
And I know you, in your wonderful mindfulness courses, talk about having a stone or something to hold. We also do that. We have a holding stone, so we ask the children to select a stone that we've kind of found from a beach or somewhere. I won't say I go and strip beaches of England, but we access pebbles.
Yeah.
You know, and we say to the children, whatever stone is you're drawn to, and then they put their initial on it, and then we try and create safe places around the sanctuary where they are quiet and peaceful with the horses, and say to them, with your holding stone, shut your eyes and imagine you're back here if you're stressed, you know. And I try and explain the science of it, but I think sometimes that goes over their head.
Yes.
But, you know, but Martin, don't you find that as a performer, the mindfulness, because it is a bit like a mental gym. You have to learn, and there are some days when I struggle with it because my brain is so busy, and I have to really force myself to shut that chatty voice out, and sometimes the thoughts come and go. At least I'm aware of them. But it hasn't half helped me as an actress.
Yeah. Because
you can focus, you can access the moment more readily once you're kind of up and running with mindfulness, is what I find anyway.
And I think over time as well, you have to sort of teach yourself to switch it on very quickly sometimes, because as we know in our business, or in many businesses, many industries, there's an element of just get on with it, just get on with it, crack on with it, just get on with it. I see that quite a lot as well. So you have to be able to do it within yourself without any kind of big moment or anything like that. And I don't know about you, but I do find when I'm waiting to go on stage to do a scene that I might not know very well, in the past, I have been up to here with whatever goes on in my head. And I've overthought it. I've gone through the lines really quickly. I've done this, I've done that. And I've gone on just a complete mess. And it might not look like that to the audience. When I say to people that I get performance anxiety, they're like, what? You must be joking. Because you hide it, which we do. We all hide these things. And even my parents are quite surprised sometimes when I mention times of my life when I've had that anxiety, or I've linked back to it, and they're like, oh, that makes sense now. And you just do it, and it's programmed into you. So I believe there is a way that you can reprogram that, which is what mindfulness is all about. It was reprogramming the brain so that you do, as I do now, I just take that breath, and within one breath, I've done a gratitude practice, I've done a self-compassion practice, everything in a breath, and I can go on. But it's taken me a good couple of years to get that. Some people need to meditate for an hour, 10 minutes, and somehow within my own self I've managed to turn it into a breath, and that's what I've done. And I know we were chatting earlier about panto and how on opening night usually I'm a wreck. And last year I was just very calm because I've just have that within me now. And it is, what is the worst that can happen? What is the worst that can happen? I go on stage, I mess up, but in panto it's fine. But even if you're doing a serious, as you do many Shakespeare plays, what's going to happen? If you
mess up with aplomb, or if somebody around you messes up with aplomb and you fill in and it goes a bit peely-wolly, the audience loves it.
Yeah.
If you mess up and you go, ha, ha, and everybody on stage falls to pieces, the audience goes, ha. But if you can keep calm, and, as I get older, the lines, they're still, I can still learn them really well. But just every now and then, maybe my concentration goes or something, and I think, oh, I don't know the next line. Ooh. And you just literally empty your brain and breathe and trust.
Yeah.
And, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Comes.
Trust.
Yeah.
I've done it at Panto before when, Jenny, I give 150%. I'm always never calling it in. But there was a time when I was stood at the front of the stage and I did look down at someone. I thought, oh, that's thingy. And I thought, that's not a family. I thought it was a family member, but I was like, no, I think she works in WH Smith's. She's really chatty. By the time I'd thought this, Stephen's looking at me, the dame, and I'm like, oh, crikey, I've got a line. And it just came. Yeah. It just came. And afterwards I said, I'm so sorry about that. And he didn't even know what I was talking about. He's like, what? I said, I was late with that line. He goes, no, you weren't. But in my head, I'd had this whole conversation.
Time had taken on a whole different aspect.
Whole new meaning.
I know. It's funny, isn't it? But I mean, yes, it helps so much with the stress of what we do. And it also helps with being in the moment. You know, when I'm filming, I can access emotion much quicker and much more intensely, or when I'm on stage. And, you know, I've done some shows where I've had to burst into tears, and I'll be sitting off stage waiting to go on, just focusing and visualising something. And I couldn't have done that before I started my mindfulness.
Yeah.
Or whatever you want to call it. Meditation, mindfulness.
Whatever it is for you.
Whatever it is for you. And, you know, I've got friends who say, I can't do it. And we have eternal arguments, and they really, 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 really believe they can't do it. Mm-hmm. And that's what's stopping them. Because I say to them, no, you can do it.
Yeah.
But you have to start with 10 seconds.
Absolutely.
Then 20 seconds. Then 30 seconds. It's like a mental gymnasium.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, some people they're unfit, so they have to do 5 minutes on the treadmill.
Yeah.
But in a year's time, they'll be running a marathon.
Yeah.
But it is the mind is so powerful and stops us.
Yeah.
Every new year, I'm digressing horribly, but it's the mind. Every new year, my New Year's resolution, and I fail every year, is I will not be afraid. Because fear stops us. And you have to say, what am I afraid of? What actually am I afraid of? Is it going to kill me? Mm. And if it's not going to kill you, and even then, I'm not sure that you should be afraid, because I do believe that there's other stuff out there. But anyway.
That's another podcast.
That's another whole podcast, exactly. But if it's not going to kill you, who cares what people think about you?
Yeah.
Who cares if it goes wrong? Who cares if you're not the brightest penny in the room or the brightest star or whatever? Are you trying to live your best life? That's all that matters. Mm. Don't worry about what other people think.
Yeah.
Well, I can only say that because I'm getting frightfully old. And, you know, you kind of learn, don't you? But when you're young, you care hugely about what everybody thinks, and you don't care enough about what you think about yourself.
Yeah.
Or your voice in your head, which goes, oh, you're rubbish at this, is louder, too loud.
Well, that's why my course is Mindfulness and Self-Compassion, my 8-week course that I start in January, is because self-compassion is something I think is so important, because we give ourselves such a hard time all the time. And sometimes I know I've kind of gone on a bit of a diet, or I'm trying to get fit for pant or whatever it is, and it's in my head constantly. And then I kind of realise I'm in a bit of a bad mood, and I'm looking at my sort of weekend ahead, and I'm not looking forward to any of it. And then I realise it's because I've got something I'm trying to do in my head, but it's kind of going to ruin the weekend or something. Or like I try and go rambling for 2 hours a day, and I realise I can't do that over the weekend, and it puts me in a bad mood. Only because I'm just being hard on myself. It's like, you don't need to go rambling at the weekend. Don't worry about it, but enjoy that moment, because if you don't, you're going to regret it come the Monday, and you didn't enjoy what that was. And I think a lot of people do that. A lot of people set themselves goals, and when it starts to go wrong, they just give themselves a hard time. We need to be kinder to ourselves.
We need to be kinder to ourselves, absolutely. And that's something, again, we teach the young people at Main Chance, self-compassion, because a lot of them have such high levels of self-hate and no confidence. And, you know, when I was much, much, much younger, I did suffer from anorexia. And that's a form of self-hate or lacking of confidence and wanting to be in control, and it's hugely complicated. Who knows what it is?
Yeah.
But you get past these things if you're lucky, and I did get past them. But the voices never leave you. It's a little bit like being an alcoholic.
Yeah.
You can live without alcohol, but you're still an alcoholic. And when you've been through an eating disorder, it stays with you.
Yeah.
I eat what I want these days, but I've always got the voice in my head going, you sure? And I go, yes, I'm sure, actually. Thank you very much. Would you go away and climb back into the cupboard? Because I actually want that packet of crisps now. I'm going to have it because I deserve it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I eat a very good diet and all of that. But you have to just be aware of those voices and know when they're inappropriate. And sometimes voices are really useful because they teach us to be decent human beings. And sometimes they're really inappropriate and they need to just get back into their little box and you can draw the bolt on it.
My anxiety is like a little gremlin.
Yeah.
And because, you can't just cancel. You can't go, my anxiety's gone, all done and dusted. Thanks so much. That's not going to happen.
It's highly living.
And I see it's this little gremlin sat on my shoulder. And I think in the past, it's just been sat with me. It's like a best buddy. And that's when it's been a bit of a problem. Now, as you say, I will literally put it in a little box. I'll tie it up nice and tightly and it's sat in the corner of the room. It's there and it's in its little box, but it's not coming out. Sometimes I've kicked that box out the window. It's gone, going back to like performing.
Sometimes it does get out.
You go,
how did you get out? Go away. Get back in your box.
It smash its way through that box.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you just go and get another box and pack it up and wrap it up and chuck it away. And sometimes it's gone on holiday. Sometimes it's gone on holiday and it's not even there. And then it will suddenly pop back. You're like, oh, that little gremlin's back.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think because we're performers in the creative arts, we find it easier to visualise things and therefore this whole thing becomes easier for us?
Totally. I think when I was at drama school back in the day, one of the things I got taught was, I think it might have been our movement teacher, Meredith. We put all these things into a bag and then we tie it up nice and tightly and we pick it up and we feel the weight of it and we swing it and we swing it. And because it's so heavy, it's really picking up momentum. Swing, and then we chuck it and then we watch it go slowly over the horizon, far, far, far away. And all of us, being drama students, are like, God, that's great. I actually feel a million times better. So I had that back in 2000. I went to drama school. So back in the day, that's what I did.
Young.
Darling, I'm not feeling it anymore, sweetheart. But that's what we did. So we did a lot of that.
I didn't have any of that, but that's wonderful.
Yeah.
But I do think because we're creative, it's easier for us to imagine things.
Yeah.
And I know some of my friends, especially the ones who say, I can't do mindfulness, they actually have very linear minds. They haven't allowed the in fact, I had a really interesting conversation just about this yesterday with somebody who says, and she's a darling friend, and she says, I can't do mindfulness. I say, yes, you can. And then we started talking about creativity, and I said, you can reprogram the brain to do anything. So then we got into the difference between a painter and an artist. I can paint. I'm not an artist. And she said, and I said, you could learn to paint. You could reprogram your brain. She said, no, I couldn't because I can't understand it. And I said, I think you could. I agree. You'll never learn to be an artist, but you can, because that's a little magic. That's stardust that some people have and some people don't. Same with the theatre, same with mathematicians, actually. Some of them have an extraordinary, hairdressers, anything, specialists. Yeah. But anyone can learn anything. If I want to, I could learn Russian or Mandarin.
Yeah.
I don't want to, but I could. It would be a hell of a struggle, pardon me for swearing. It would be a struggle.
Yeah.
But I could learn it because the brain is so plastic. And again, I wanted to say, no, please hear me, because you could. But she doesn't see visually.
Yeah.
So she therefore finds it so much harder to visualize the things that you and I are talking about, like putting all your problems into a little box and throwing away the key or whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
I do a lovely meditation, which is about that lovely glow on top of your head, a lovely warm, orangey, sunshiny glow, and then it just gradually moves down your body. It's a lovely little body scan. But again, this is what gets interesting, because in the world of mindfulness, visualization can be seen as not a great thing. We shouldn't be doing that because we're putting ourselves in a different place. And there's so many levels of it. And this is what Upgrade Your Day is all about for me, is about just spreading awareness that you can do whatever you want. There are some very serious mindfulness people. I mean, my mum isn't going to sit for an hour a day meditating. As I've mentioned many times before, she wants to try meditation, but she's like, I can't sit cross-legged. And I'm like, Mum, you don't have to. No. But sometimes, and again, I'm repeating stuff I've said before, but you go into Google and type in meditation in images, all the people in those images are sat cross-legged on a beach, on a yoga mat, all doing a Buddha pose, the lotus position.
It puts
and I'm
people
trying
off.
to, I know, I'm trying to break that. Like,
Again,
you don't have
you're
to do that.
absolutely right. Some of the what I call diehard mindfulness people are very, very, well, you have to do this and you have to do that. Actually, no, you don't.
No.
Whatever works for you that takes you into the moment. And I love your visualization because you're going into something internal that's the same as looking at something or using your senses.
Yeah.
And you're feeling that warmth all down your body.
Yeah.
And that will take you out of your busy mind and into the moment.
Yes.
So therefore, it's a tool.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
Yeah, and I think the more you do it in years to come, maybe you can do meditation where you literally do nothing and you sit for an hour. But for some people, they can't sit for 5 minutes, let alone an hour. So you have to start slowly, which is why I have my little 3-minute upgrade that I do on my website. If you can take 3 minutes a day, time to boil a kettle, and you can just sit just for 3 minutes, that is the fact that you've even got that once a day. You're doing a mindfulness practice. Your mind's going, every day I do a bit of mindfulness. That can take you to so many wonderful places by just doing 3 minutes a day. Done. That's it. All it takes. Sit on the toilet. Just close your eyes for a minute,
And I find it really frustrating because I know it's going to help them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, please listen to me because I'm giving you something so wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think that's what I'm trying to do is introduce.
Make it accessible.
Yeah,
Tricks,
accessible
little
and
tricks.
entry level and just little things like you mentioned about the stone. People can do that. That's not a hard thing. Pick up a little stone or a stone at home or something.
I tell you what else we do.
Yeah.
Because they struggle sometimes, the kids, to sit in the barn and shut their eyes and all of that. And we take them through body scans and, blah-de-blah. We take them outside and we say, right, shut your eyes and just listen. Just for 30 seconds, just listen. And then afterwards we say, so what did you hear? And they'll go through all the things they've heard. And then we say, were you thinking when you were listening? And most of them go, oh, no. And it's like, yeah, because when you're in your senses, you stop thinking.
Yeah.
Because your brain can't do both.
Exactly. Yeah, I do a little thing about 5. Well, we have the 5 senses, which is a lovely thing to do in nature, going back to that, is to sit and then just to listen. Yeah. And then to smell and to touch and just go through all of them. And it's amazing how you can connect to that moment, which is, and I think for people that get stressed as well, a great way of just connecting to the moment is just going through each one of your 5 senses and just connecting with them and just grounding.
And if your thoughts come, become aware of them and let them go again.
Let them go.
Like a bus going by. Oh, look, there's that bus. That's got an angry thought on it. I don't want to get on that one.
Yes. Now, going back to, because the one thing I struggle with, and I remember saying to you a few years ago when you did a play, Anastasia, something or another,
yes.
and I said to you, do you know what? That was literally a 2-hour monologue. I don't know how you remembered the words. I don't know how you did it. It was truly brilliant. And then you said to me, I don't know how you do 3 shows in panto. And I said, well, you just do it, don't you? Which is what your answer was. Because even though we're in the same business, you just admire other people. But do you get anxiety about things like that? How do you, or when you, obviously you've done long-running TV shows, how do you deal with that anxiety of maybe feeling like you're about to film something? All these people are there and you need to be on the ball. And was there any times when you felt you weren't? And did that bring an anxiety? How have you dealt with that in the past?
I always get anxious that I'm not going to be able to do it. Always. With each role, I think, oh gosh, I don't know if I can play this part. And then the devil is in the detail. It's about hard work. And then you hope the inspiration comes. So if you get a really emotional part or a very complicated part, you just have to look at the script. You have to break it down. I always do a backstory. I write all the details of the backstory so that I know who I am and what her attitudes are to everything around her. And once you've done all the work, it sort of becomes easier because the emotions come to you. But it's about doing the work. Yeah. But I mean, I'm due to do a film in February, and it's a very, very difficult role. A war journalist who got PTSD. And there are some scenes in it, and I think, oh, I don't know how I'm going to play that role. I'm really frightened about it. And I will have to use all of my tricks, all the focus, all the calmness, all the the work that goes into creating a part, but all the tricks on the day. And, filming is a whole other kettle of fish because you've got cameras around you, you've got to try and do your continuity, you've got to hit your mark, you've got maybe external noises that are distracting, you've got people moving when they shouldn't necessarily. Loads and loads of things distract you. And there'll be some times when I've done a take on a film or a television where the other actor will go, God, I don't know how you did that, because so-and-so suddenly did this during the take. And I was like, did they? I didn't notice because I was so in the moment.
Yeah.
But sometimes you'll do a take and you can't focus because there's too much going on and your brain's not entirely focused. So you have to really, really, it's like getting fit. You have to really hone the focus that mindfulness can give you and hold on to it and use it and sit on that anxiety. Yeah. Because, every time I do another job, I think, they're going to find out this time. And that's a classic actor's line. The more you do and the more people go, you're such a good actress, the more you think, no, I don't know, I can't do it.
You have to call on your self-compassion, your gratitude, and also actually, even though I always say sometimes it can seem a bit narcissistic or a bit selfish, but you do have to go, hang on a minute, I've done quite a few things, pat on the back, you can do this, crack on with it, you can do it. And I think people sometimes feel like it's very narcissistic and they need to be more humble. But
you
to
can
yourself,
be humble, but you can also
be
confident.
Yeah.
And I've had this conversation with myself because I absolutely believe in humility, because we are just ordinary human beings and everybody has a right to breathe and live. But you also have to know, otherwise you let the gremlin out the box. Yeah. And if you go, actually, no, I can do this. I'm okay. I'm quite good at this. The gremlin looks a bit off and climbs into its box and pulls the padlock itself,
That's a great visualization.
You can see them walking off going, oh, that's no fun.
Yes. I mean, I'm sure you've had times when you've opened a show in the West End or something and you've got a bit of telly going on and you've got all these different things and dinner parties with different friends that probably come to see you, and a week can fly by. And sometimes it's not until a few weeks later you go, oh, wish I'd enjoyed that a bit more. What a great fun week. It was all just bam, bam, bam. And the one thing I've learned more than anything with my mindfulness practice is just to stop and just take in the moment, enjoy it. In fact, on our wedding day, the biggest advice I got from somebody off the telly was to try and break away 2 or 3 times during the day. And we were in a hotel where our room wasn't far away. And I went and sat in the room, I think about 4 times during the day. And I sat on the edge of the bed and I didn't even think it was a mindfulness practice at the time. And I just took a moment. I had a little fiddle with my hair and sprayed a bit of aftershave as you do. But I just took a moment and just had a little thought about what's happened and what's to come and just take that moment to be there. And I tell you what, it worked a treat because you get so many people say, oh, the day went by in a flash. I don't remember a thing of it. And that's when I realised I had a mindfulness practice back in 2014 when we got married. I was doing it then. And I always say to people, if you can, just take a moment before a show, shut the dressing room door and just sit and just go, how great, how lucky am I to be here doing this? This is coming up. We've done this. Just enjoy it. Whereas otherwise it's all gone in a flash and you wake up the next day and you wish you'd taken more time to embrace it.
I couldn't agree more. Just knowing how blessed you are.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you want something, you have to imagine it happening and say thank you for it. It's that whole word gratitude again.
Yeah.
Because that sort of makes it happen.
Yeah. Yes.
If you really believe it.
Absolutely.
But gratitude is so important, to know how blessed you are.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about the simple things. I'm not talking about the great big things. I'm talking about the simple things.
Yeah. Really simple things, like being on a dog walk.
Correct. Absolutely.
That's it. And all we can do is what we do, what you're doing with the horses and your mindfulness, what I'm trying to do, and
what you are doing, never
put it
mind
out
trying
there.
to do. And it ripples.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
when I have one of my bad mornings, which thankfully don't happen very often, about the state of the planet and what we're doing to nature, I just have to take myself back into that quiet place and go, okay, you can't do everything, you can't save the world. All you can do is start with you and give and make sure that everybody around you has the very best possible chance.
Yeah.
And then hopefully they'll take that into their lives and share it. And it's just ripples. Your upgraders, they're all rippling.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
We can't all be 100% all the time. And we all make mistakes. We all, the whole be kind message. It has a kind of opposite effect sometimes, because I think some people feel like they might not have been very kind to the parking warden or the woman in the shop that couldn't serve them, and then you feel bad about it. Oh God, I should be kind. And it's like, it's okay. You can have these moments.
Everything's okay. It's like, some people listening to us might be thinking, well, it's all very well for you,
yes.
And you've now made me feel like real rubbish from your talk. Actually, that's not the intention. The intention is for you to understand that it's okay.
Yeah.
Everything's okay.
Everything's
just
okay.
Be kind to yourself.
And like you said early on, if you could sit and just close your eyes for 10 seconds a day, or like with me with 3 minutes, that's a great starting point. Just give it a go. And it's all about
10 seconds becomes 20 seconds, becomes half a minute, becomes a minute, becomes 2 minutes, becomes 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you're off. But it's the commitment to doing it, and it's the belief that you can.
Absolutely. And I get a lot of people say to me, we've got kids, we've got this, we've got that, we've got busy lives. I get home from work and all I want to do is sleep. And you go, that's totally fine. I totally get it. Absolutely. But it's what works for you, which I think a lot of times when I've done certain diets, and it's like, if you get up an hour earlier and chop all your veg and everything, you're like, I don't want to get up an hour earlier. No. I don't want to do that, actually. That's because that's not going to motivate me, because I'm going to be really moody, or I'm not going to have enough sleep. So it's what works for you. Don't do that diet. Don't do that. Change it to suit you, or what works for you. You don't have to do because everyone's doing that thing. That's the popular thing at that time. What works for you?
I totally agree. Absolutely. And we're all different, and we're all wonderful.
We are. Listen, I want to do this little thing with you.
Oh, go on.
This is your ultimate upgrade, okay?
Yes.
So it's very simple questions. You might have to have
My
a little
gremlin's
think.
just got out of its box and it's going, oh dear, I'm not really very interesting now, am I?
Do you know what? You can tell it to get back in. It'll be fine. Right, this is what I'm going to ask you, okay? So for you, and think about this as this moment in time, what's your favourite time of the day?
Oh.
What's your favourite time of the day?
Can I answer?
Yeah, go for it.
First thing in the morning, when everything's quiet and it's just me and the dogs.
Nice, yeah. Nice early morning.
That's not because I don't adore my Bill. I love him. But I love the fact that it's just me and a quiet house.
Yeah.
And my lovely dogs.
That's nice. The world's waking up. And do you have a favourite day? Is there a day, some people like a Saturday because it's bustly, or a Sunday because it's a relaxing day. Is there a day for you that you love more than any other?
No, I like every day.
Yeah.
Every day is different. Every day has moments of peace. No. Every day's a holiday with Mary.
Don't sing, we'll have to pay for it.
Oh, sorry. Well, I don't think that counted as singing.
You haven't heard me in Panto, love. And is there a place that you love more than anything? At this moment in time, is there a place that is just your place at the moment? And it could be a room in a house, or out and about, or is there a place?
My house.
Your house. In your house. Totally with that.
The garden.
Yeah, in the garden.
I love where we live. I just love it.
Yeah, and it's so leafy here, which is nice.
I love it.
Especially when it's autumn like this. The house
has an energy, the garden has an energy, and it's just filled with love and light, and I love it.
And do you have a favourite drink? Not non-alcoholic or alcoholic. Is there a favourite drink that you love more than anything else?
I don't drink alcohol anymore. Otherwise, I'd say malt whiskey or chilled vodka, because I like them, but a little bit too much. But I do adore Belvoir ginger cordial.
Oh, ginger cordial.
It's an organic ginger cordial, and it's got a bit of a kick to it.
Oh, yes.
And I have it with sparkling water.
Nice.
I have it room temperature.
Yeah.
Because I don't like ice. I think ice gets everything too cold, and it's not good for your insides. And this drink is and some cordials, some ginger drinks are really quite sweet. This is just,
And ginger's great. Ginger's great
very
for
good
you.
for you. Yeah.
And with regards to food, what's your favourite food? Now, it might be something like sushi or something, or it might even be like a cinnamon bun, a certain item. What's your ultimate food? If I could say right now someone's going to walk in with it, what would it be?
South Indian vegetarian.
Oh, Indian vegetarian.
South Indian.
South Indian.
Rasam and those South Indian curries.
South Indian curry.
They're very different from
Really?
other parts of India.
I've not heard that before.
Oh.
South
Northern Indian
curry.
cuisine is rather rich and quite meat-based, and I'm vegetarian.
Yeah.
Anyway. But the South Indian it's a lighter, and there's coconut in it, and well, there can be coconut, but it's also the chaat dishes and the bel puri and the masala dosa and all those kind of things. And
Do you cook it or
rasam.
do you?
I have learnt how to cook rasam, which is a pepper soup.
Oh,
dish.
yeah.
I used to go to, it's gone now, Mr. Ramalingam in Gunpath restaurant on Gray's Inn Road used to do the best South Indian cooking, and I nudged him for a few recipes. I've got lazy now. I've got lazy.
Look forward to you making one for me, dropping off at the dressing room. And with regards to people, and it can be animals, people, who would you most like to spend time with? And it also can be yourself, which I'm thinking it might actually be first thing in the morning.
Oh, is it got to be during that morning moment?
No, it could be any time, but anybody, who do you like most spending time with, or
Apart from my dogs.
apart from your dogs? But I like that though, with your dogs.
being with
There's
my
something quite
dog.
powerful in that.
I love my Bill. I love spending time
And of course,
with him.
Bill.
Yeah.
Bill and your dogs.
And me.
And yourself, and your favourite music. What's your favourite music? Are you a music person?
Not like Bill is. I mean, he's rock and roll.
He loves his rock and roll.
56 to 63
Yeah.
rock and roll. But he's also very eclectic. Me, I'll dance through anything if I like it. I love a bit of classic. I love a bit of...
Do you have a favourite song?
No,
No.
I don't have anything favourite in music. I just sometimes go, oh, that's nice. But if you ask me what my favourite is, I haven't got one.
Just general.
Yeah.
And what about a scent? Last one. Is there a scent which you like more than anything else in the
Smell of
world?
my dog's ears.
Your dog's ears.
It's all sort of biscuity and sort of...
Oh, you heard that, didn't
Yes.
you?
Alfie just yawned and got up.
So, okay.
Or the smell of a horse.
Oh, smell of a horse.
Yeah. Put your nose in a horse. I mean, that sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? Just, hug a horse and smell them.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, no, I remember. Yes.
it's a very particular smell.
So your ultimate upgrade, right?
Yes.
Are you ready for this? It's quite an interesting one, Jenny, I have to admit. Early morning, on any day, in your house or garden, drinking ginger cordial, eating South Indian curry with Bill and the dogs, smelling their ears. Well, not Bill's ears, but the dog's ears. I mean, you can smell Bill's ears if you want
That's
to.
terribly funny.
That is your ultimate upgrade place.
That's lovely. I shall remember
And
that.
do you know what? You could do that. The whole thing, the reason I like doing this, just for a bit of fun, but is sometimes we need to remember like what we really love and what we love doing, because we don't do it enough. And actually, all of that, tomorrow morning, to be on your house with your dogs and Bill and eating South Indian curry, you could do that tomorrow morning. There's nothing stopping you. And I think that's what's really important, to remember things like this.
That's nice. I shall like that.
And that's
I
just
enjoy
such a
doing
lovely
that.
little thing to do.
Yeah.
And we must remember, to do these things that we love doing.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. I feel I've just been given a present.
And I have images of you sniffing Bill's ears.
No, not Bill's ears, the dog's ears. And I'm not sure that I'm going to be eating the curry in the morning. I think I'll try one of the kind of starters, which are more masala
I think
chat
you
or something.
might have to, yeah.
Yes.
Right, my love, God, that Jenny, she's a right weirdo. She's sniffing everyone's ears, eating curry in the morning. It's all gone to pot. There must be a show coming up.
Oh dear, there's no hope.
Well, listen, darling, thank you so much for chatting for me. It's been absolutely lovely. And,
Thank you
I
for
think you're a
having me.
superstar, even though you're a little bit weird now with sniffing ears, but that's fine.
Oh dear.
No, thank you so much. And I think everything you say is absolutely bang on the money. And give my listeners a little bit about your charity, or where they can follow, find out, donate, etc.?
Oh, you're lovely. It's called Mane Chance Sanctuary. That's MANE as in horse's mane, Chance Sanctuary. And we've got... how many acres? About 80 acres just south of Guildford. But we do have a website and you can visit us and have a look. And if we've got any events, we've got some coming up, some lovely events coming up. Come and join us at an event, become a friend, sponsor a horse, come and visit us on an open day. Get involved.
Yeah, wonderful.
It's not just the horses, it's the people they help.
Yeah.
So it's a lovely, what I call a virtuous circle.
Yeah.
We sound as if we've got it really together, don't we, Martin?
We so don't.
Oh, such an illusion. Honestly, we're grasping. We're holding our heads just above water.
We're all doing the same, sweetheart.
Yeah.
We're all doing the same. Just trying to help one another, aren't we?
Yeah.
That's
and trying to share what little tiny bits of help that we've learnt for ourselves with other people.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing anyway.
Yeah.
That's what I try to do.
I get it all the time. People question me, go, oh, how can you be so this and so that? I'm like, hang on a minute. Let's just go back a few hours or a few, this.
Have you seen me a couple of hours ago or a year or two ago? Do you know who I was or am sometimes?
Wait till, we start panto on Monday, and honestly, still now, 13th year, Jenny, and that morning of meeting everyone and sitting in a big circle and doing the whole what's your name, where'd you come from, and reading the script, I'm shaking like this.
But you won't, because you'll be doing your breath.
I'll be doing my breath, but there's still something.
Understand.
But this is the thing. It's still, even though, like you say, you think I might have it together. My anxiety, I'll be fine. I'm okay with it, but so nervous, and you sort of feel like people are looking at you, going, "Why are you so nervous? You know everyone in this room, literally." Funny, isn't it? It's funny.
Well, it's all about feeling judged and letting them down and letting yourself down.
Yeah.
And wanting to do the very best, and you have to take from the nerves, don't you? You have to let them feed you rather than destroy you.
Yeah.
Nerves can be really, really helpful if you can harness them. It's sort of like a herd of horses, isn't it? They're either going to pull your chariot or they're going to trample you.
Yeah.
And you must get in that chariot.
Fight or flight kicks in.
Absolutely.
I usually have a croissant and just get on with it.
There you go.
Darling, thank you so much. And we'll see you on a stage very soon.
Oh, yes.
Keep an eye. Thank you. So there you go, episode 1 with the lovely Jenny Seagrove. I had so much fun recording that, and it's great because I've met her so many times. We've chatted quite a lot, but when you get a chance to sit down with someone just for that sort of hour and just chat, it just changes everything, doesn't it? I have so much more love for her than I did before. Such a great person, and I hope you really enjoyed that. There's so many more episodes to come. We've got 16 in series 2. There's lots to come up, some really exciting subjects that we're going to talk about, and I really hope that these podcasts are a way of you just dipping your toe into many other things that could or you could expand, or you could just go, nah, that's not for me, but it's just an insight into other ways, holistic well-being, whatever it may be for you, just to experience different things. And I hope that's what you're getting from these podcasts. As always, please remember to like and subscribe. Please share the love, share the Upgrade love as much as you can. And as always, you can follow me on Instagram, Upgrade Your Day, and on Facebook, Upgrade Your Day page. I've got Twitter and everything else as well, and all my details on upgradeyourday.co.uk. And right now, if you are listening to this in November 2022, I have my lovely calendar available. You can get it on the website. It's all the photos that I've taken on my mindful rambles throughout the year. 15% goes to the Kevin Cruz Foundation, and it is just the most loveliest calendar with lots of nice squares to write things in tick, in highlight, and put stickers in. A lovely photo of the local area of Windsor and Eton on every single page. It's A4, it's wire bound, you can hang it up, it's lovely. So those calendars are available now, and also my companion book is also available, And I'm booking my 8-week mindfulness and self-compassion course. It starts in January, in person in Windsor. And we're kind of half full now. So if you want to come and join me for 8 weeks on a Monday night for 2 hours from 7 till 9, you can join me in Windsor for my mindfulness and self-compassion course. Everything's on the website, as always. So thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing your time with me today. And I'll see you soon.